Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. I'm your host tonight. I'm Jeremy. I'm one of the co-founders of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. And with me today, I have my two co-hosts, the other half of the co-founding Infinite Rabbit Hole guides, things, dudes. Jake, what's going on, man?
Nothing's going on. I just got off work and now I'm here.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for a long one because I have 38 pages of notes.
Well, I'm coming in with a already biased opinion that this is all fake, so you'll have to blow my mind.
I will. And batting up cleanup, we have Jeff, who I know is pissed right now that he's got to be on this long ass episode because of me. I love you, Jeff, and welcome to the Infinite Rabbit Hole.
Well, I love you too, Jake, and I'm not pissed. I mean, Jeremy. I can't even see
Jake?
my
I
brain.
love
Is,
you too.
Fuck,
my
bro.
brain is fried today, but I'm gonna do my best to keep up with your 38 pages.
He's gonna dip out 2 hours in. He's not gonna finish.
Yeah, if you catch me snoring, just call me or something.
Well, you know what though? This is going to be a very interesting topic because Jake, you're right. There is some far-fetched stuff in here.
Most of it, yeah.
But well, all you heard was that thing I sent you, which was the interview with the main guy of this whole story.
I'm sure you're gonna dig, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like how much more could there be?
Well,
Did they come back? Did they?
Well, yeah, there's a lot here, man.
All right.
There's a lot. There's 38 pages worth of notes of a lot.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay. All right. But what makes it even better, though, is that I found somebody who actually sat down with the daughter of the main character in this.
Oh.
Knows her in person. And can really shine a light on a lot of this stuff. She is a 40 investigator and half of the On Wednesdays We Talk Weird podcast. I am very proud and excited to welcome Asherz to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Asherz, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I know I'm super excited. You guys are very fun. Some very interesting views here. So I'll be curious to hear everybody's take. I'm probably a little too close to the situation to have any other surprising opinion, but hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on here because you're a lot more famous than we are. We're just dudes that like to talk about weird shit. And you actually go out there and you investigate some of this really cool stuff.
I do.
So real quick, before we jump into the topic of the night, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what you kind of have coming up in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I'm a 40 investigator full time. That means that I investigate all of the anomalous phenomena. So I do cryptozoology, ufology, the paranormal, things like that. I think that there is a hidden kind of puzzle piece to a lot of these phenomena, even though, of course, I have my varying opinion on specific topics. But I think that when it comes to the world of fringe, there's definitely something that kind of ties it all in together. And so that's why I chose to do all of it. I got my start in it. I've always been into this stuff, first of all, I'll say that, but I didn't get into like this job until I was approached to do this documentary on the Mothman. And, so I started that back in 2019, ended up quitting my day job. I had a really nice day job that I quit and went to go do this full time. I have no idea why. But whatever, we all make bad decisions. And, so anyway, so I go out and, I go investigate these places, I travel around talking to eyewitnesses and things like that. And, obviously one of the people here, involved with this situation is one of them. But, and then in the meantime, nobody actually pays me to like go do that part of it, like the actual like cool fun part. So I have to make content. So as mentioned, I'm working on a Mothman documentary called Sinking the Mothman. It's one part of many, many parts of documentaries, plus a companion book to go with the documentaries because you just can never get enough Mothman. And then, I also have the On Wednesdays We Talk Weird podcast where we don't miss a beat, and you can find us every single Wednesday talking about everything. So
I feel deceived. Here I was thinking that we were just guesting a person like us. and she's so much better than us in every way.
No, listen. So I started off just like you guys. You'll be weird like me too when you grow up. I promise.
Basically, what's going to happen here is Jeremy's going to spit out these 38 pages of notes, and I'm not going to listen to anything he has to say. I'm just going to wait for your response. You're convincing me tonight, Asherz, so welcome.
You know what? That is exactly what my job is to kind of bring you a little bit closer to thinking that this could be possible. So we'll see how it goes.
Sweet.
And of course, she's going to be able to fill in the gaps that I missed, because I probably have gaps, and she's got firsthand knowledge.
What I'm going to tell you up front is that you, Jeremy, probably have too much information.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's facts.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you probably got stuff that, like, maybe somebody one time in a book was like, "This is relevant," and it's absolutely not relevant
Greg's
at all. And it's
favorite
okay.
color was green.
Right. Yep. So we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. So do you have anywhere where people listening to this can get in touch with you or
that's right.
follow you on socials and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you guys have somewhere to post links. I'll give you my master link, my link tree. But I'm on, you can find me on Facebook under my God-given name, Ashley Hilt. You can find me on Twitter, at It's Asherz, also on Instagram at It's Asherz. And you can find on Wednesdays We Talk Weird just anywhere. It's the only thing that pops up when you Google it. So, it'll be easy.
Perfect. I'm looking you up right now.
Sure.
And then I'm going to invite you to, oh yeah, there you are right there. Works at UFology.
That's me. I work there at UFology.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And then, so if anybody listening to this, of course, I'm going to invite her into the Infinite Rabbit Hole group page on Facebook. So if she denies it, then that's on her. You can send your hate mail to Asherz. Anyways, no. But before we get going, I do just want to make a friendly reminder that we do have that group open now, and we have a lot of really cool stuff going on. Everyone's posting pictures and really cool facts onto the group page, and we're having a great conversation over there. So please check it out. Go on to facebook.com. If you go to facebook.com/Infinite Rabbit Hole, that's going to take you to our actual page for the show. Make sure you look for the group. The group is where all of the conversation is going. And if you didn't get to join us, we actually did our first live meeting with some of our fans. We just sat down one day and we're like, let's go live. And we did it. And we had a really good time, a lot of really good conversations, nothing Infinite Rabbit Hole worthy, just like everyday stuff about like what we eat and crap like that. But we had a great time, and it was very nice to talk to a lot of you. So anybody who actually jumped on and had a conversation with us, I just want to say thank you for doing that. And without further ado, the topic we're going to talk about tonight is none other than Indrid Cold.
Did you do a write-up for this, like an intro?
No. No, I spent so much time on this that I did not even get to do an intro.
You're a real scumbag, but I'm ready.
Before we dive into the actual story of Indrid Cold, let's go a little bit earlier than that. According to author John Keel, in 1965, there was a group of alien contactees in Mexico that claimed they were taken to a place the alien beings referred to as Ganymede. 3 years later, in 1968, an even larger group of people from South America claimed to have been contacted by beings who said they came from a place that they also called Ganymede. The strangeness of these cases were not only that they both had people not only seeing UFOs, but they were claiming to have been contacted and transported to faraway places in space to visit another world that they called Ganymede. And they were countries away from each other and 3 years apart in the 1960s. And if you dive a little bit into the technology that was available in the late 60s, not only in Mexico and South America, but honestly the whole world, it would prove to be damn near impossible for these people to be in contact with each other to share their stories. In fact, these people's encounters wouldn't have been even available to Keel if it weren't for his background in journalism. And people wouldn't believe Keel if it weren't for his various ways of documenting and recording first-hand stories for contactees themselves. But why were people countries away sharing experiences about Jupiter's moon? Fact is, they weren't referring to Jupiter's moon. And that's not where the strangeness ends. Not by a long shot. Welcome back to Infinite Rabbit Hole. I did do an intro.
Okay, good. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this awesome song? I was about to throw my computer through the window. Like, I've been thinking about this for weeks.
That's good.
Was it good?
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, that's good.
I'm impressed. You really do read Keel. That's wow.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a reader.
No, good for you. I'm very happy. We endorse that a lot on Wednesdays We Talk Weird show. So I'm proud of you for being able to read.
Thank you.
I don't know how to read.
I'm proud of everybody that can read. If you can read, I love you. We're in love.
Oh, we all get
Guess
stickers.
she doesn't like me.
If you don't read, yeah.
Nope, I don't know how.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I faked it all these years. Faked my way right in the military, not knowing how to read.
Hey, I've heard
Probably
some
worked.
stories, so
They're all true.
All of them. Yep.
I believe it.
All right, so let's dive into Woody's first contact. On the night of November 2nd, 1966, Woodrow, a.k.a. Woody, was driving down Interstate 77 from Marietta, Ohio, to his home in Mineral Wells, West Virginia. Woody was an appliance salesman who had just started his career in the field after going on strike the same year at his previous career working for Union Carbide, a chemical and polymer plant that employed a lot of people in the area. As he was approaching the intersection of I-77 and Route 47, Woody noticed a set of headlights in his rearview mirrors blink off, then on. Back then, this was a signal often used for wanting to pass someone. The car passed Woody, and after he noticed that another car was coming up fairly quickly behind him without their lights on. As what Woody refers to as the quote-unquote the ship pulled up beside his car, he noticed that it was no vehicle he had ever seen before. The lightless ship pulled up in front of Woody's truck and turned sideways, blocking all lanes of the highway, and slowly came to a stop. Woody slowed down and pulled over onto the shoulder of the road before stopping his vehicle completely. During the entire time, Woody's truck and all the lights, radio, and gauges worked perfectly fine. According to Woody, the craft stood 45 to 60 feet long and resembled an old kerosene lamp sitting on its side. The center of the ship was large and tapered off as it extended left and right before it flared back up before the ends. The craft was dark gray, and even though there were absolutely no lights coming from the craft, it did glisten in the light rain. And the only sound he heard was a soft and steady flapping. Woody stopped roughly 8 to 10 feet away from the craft with his headlights illuminating its side. Very soon, after they had both stopped, a door on the ship had opened and a man exited the craft. After this man exited the ship, it rose into the air about 50 to 100 feet above the location, directly above where it stopped. Woody watched as this man walked directly in front of the headlights of his truck. By his best guesses, Woody described the man as being just shy of 6 feet tall, around 180 pounds, perfectly tanned skin, and black slick back hair. There was absolutely nothing off about this man except for that he walked out of a craft that just fell out of the sky. As the man stood in the light casted by the truck's headlights, Woody began hearing a voice in his head asking him to please roll down the window. Woody leaned across the front seat of the truck and rolled down the passenger side. But instead of walking to the passenger side, the man walked over to Woody's side and looked at Woody through the driver's side window and began mind-speaking to him, telling him to not be afraid. Followed up by asking, what was his name? Woody became very scared of the situation, and he found himself and discovered that it was hard to speak to the man. Then, as if the man could read his mind, his voice returned to Woody's head, stating that he could answer by thinking or by speaking, and that either way was just fine. Without Woody saying a word, the man replied, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Derenberger. My name is Cold." Immediately after introducing himself, Cold asked Woody if he worked for a living. Woody responded by explaining that he was a salesman, and Cold responded by telling him that he was what's called a searcher, followed directly with telling Woody that he, quote, shouldn't be frightened, and that we wished him no harm and only happiness. Cold was sporting a large grin and stopped with his arms crossed and hands under his armpits. He continued the conversation by asking what the lights were in the distance. Mr. Derenberger responded by telling him that the lights were the city of Parkersburg. Cold followed it up by asking Woody if this was a place where most people lived. Woody responded by explaining that some people surely did live there, but that most people lived in the surrounding areas and that the city was mostly for business and entertainment. Now, Cold replied by explaining that where he's from, areas like that are called gatherings. The conversation then took a slightly different tone. Cold told Woody to look at him and stated, I am the same as you are. I sleep and breathe and bleed even as you do. Have no fear. We mean you no harm. Now, a little side note here. This whole conversation was being done non-verbally, and Woody stated that he could hear every word clearly as if he was being spoken to. Now to continue. Cold continued by asking Mr. Derenberger, why was he so frightened? My country is not nearly as powerful as yours. Cold ended the conversation by telling him to report this experience to the officials, and that he would be back at a later date to confirm his story, and that he would be back to meet him again. Without any sign from Cold, the craft lowered back down, and the door opened back up, and Woody was able to see another man inside the craft. The man closed the door after Cold had entered, and slowly began to rise off the ground, and by the time it was above the trees, Woody took off as quickly as he could. So that's the story of how Woody met Mr. Cold. What do you guys think? First thoughts.
No, it's the best love story of all time.
What's the location of this again?
Right outside of Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Okay.
Here he goes. Yep, come on.
I'll be back.
What's around there, buddy?
So I noticed right away that it said that the vehicle or the craft didn't interfere with his vehicle's electronics, which seems to be a signature of every single UFO craft sort of experience is electronics fail. So for me, that's either a more realistic version or it's so far out of it that it's more lends into it being made up.
I'm happy you picked up on that. And I'm actually surprised you didn't pick up on something else too. But let's talk to Asherz real quick. What do you got, Asherz?
I guess I don't know how detailed you want me to answer this. But yeah, I mean, it's so okay. I guess we didn't introduce how I'm related to this topic. Should we probably do that and maybe?
Oh,
yes.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Let's
do that.
Maybe that way.
I'm a terrible host.
No, it's okay. It's fine. So I'm actually very close with Woody Derenberger's daughter, Tanya Derenberger. And, Woody's dead now, but Tanya still continues to tell the story. And so, I've met with Tanya, I've talked with Tanya, I've gotten kind of more of the inside story rather than just the books and whatever you might find, elsewhere. So, I mean, from Insight, I guess I'll mention this too. I went there. I was there, standing there at the same spot where they met each other, Indrid and Woody. And, of course, I went, was Mothman Festival weekend in 2021. So it's a lot different now. But I can imagine that during the 60s, the area at the time was probably pretty desolate. And there wasn't a lot of things around, because it is like, I mean, that's kind of West Virginia anyway. It's like a bunch of nothing, and then like 5 buildings and then a bunch of nothing again. Right. But, that's just the kind of the area. But, this little area, it's got a little bit of a, they have like a Dunkin' Donuts there. I know, because that's where we met Tanya at the first time. And
nice.
Yeah, so
it's
like
well
right
established.
It's well established, yeah. Sure. I mean, it's all they got there. They don't even have Walmart. They got to cross the border for that luxury. But anyway, so
well established. Okay,
right. So we went, and I could definitely see how the area could be very. Because Woody doesn't really mention other people out on the road, right? He doesn't really talk about how if there was any other passing cars that could have potentially saw this. However, And I'm surprised maybe this wasn't mentioned yet, but maybe you just haven't gotten there. A group of guys in a truck actually claimed that there was this. They saw the same ship. They reported that separately. They saw the same ship that was trying to stop them on the same stretch of road. They didn't fall for it. They got the fuck out of there. They're like, nope. So that's interesting.
I do get to that though.
Okay.
Just let you know, I do get there.
Okay, you want to talk? Okay, talk about. I'll let you do your job.
No. Please keep talking. I just want to let you know that yes.
She's like, all right, I'm out. You know what?
No, it's okay.
You told me to come on this show, asshole.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I just don't know how much you want me to really, take off running and get into it, or what you want me to do.
No,
but
say whatever you want to say. I'll just repeat it.
I think that making the point that there was no interference with the vehicle. I think that is important because you're right. That is something that happens a lot in these on the road, UFO encounters. However, when you take into account the fact that there was a car that was attempted to stop previously, and then it just kept going, and they obviously didn't meet Indrid, right? I think kind of the point of it, and I think that the longevity of the relationship here kind of attests to that, is that Indrid didn't want to stop anybody against their will. I mean, I think he wanted somebody that would want to listen to him. So I think that if he were to interfere
didn't blast his car with an EMP,
right? Yeah, exactly.
I need to talk to you.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It could be. No, I mean, I think that there was a reason behind it. I think that obviously the technology's there, but he didn't really see the need, and so he was going to wait until somebody was just kind of willingly on the road that night, and that somebody happened to be Woody Derenberger. So,
well, the other side of it is, if, for me, this is a really big if, but if there is extraterrestrials or interdimensionals or what have you, you'd have to assume that there isn't just one planet that has them. That if they have the ability to maneuver in technology, it's similar to like the different countries on this planet. The people look different. They have different forms of technology. Our cars that we make here in America, our original like muscle cars and stuff, aren't anything like the super fast, crazy sport cars in like Japan. If I'm putting this in my head so it makes sense, why couldn't it be that a craft from one place would be different from a craft from another place? And also the fact that he looked like a person versus like a gray or a whatever or a jellyfish. Maybe this is going to play into Jeremy's idea of interdimensionals that travel using what is it? He thinks that they're not beings, they're vehicles, or they are cyborgs or drones or something like that.
Yeah.
Make him look exactly like us, and then he wouldn't need to speak. Be like, and he could be saying like, we breathe like you, we eat like you, we sleep like you, and all these different things. It's not the body that's in front of this guy that's saying that. It's the voice speaking through him into his mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're in for a ride, dude.
I can't wait. I love rides.
All I got.
Yeah, this is exciting. Knowing what I know about it, this is exciting.
I know. He just stepped in a whole bunch of shit. I love it.
Am I like on the right track?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
cool.
You're gonna enjoy this then.
Okay.
I think this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a lot of fun. What about you, Jeff? You still good, man?
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of looking at the area and what's around. I couldn't find anything super crazy. There's a couple Coast Guard bases over there.
There's a lot of corn in that area. And
Coast Guard's not doing anything. Not that I know of.
There's lots of meth, I can tell you that. Lots and lots of meth. As
Probably
far
what
as
it
the eye
is.
can see.
As far as the eye can see, fields of meth. Sounds like Fresno.
Very similar. Yeah.
Well, the story, that's a wrap. It was meth.
Oh, all right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the police. Fields of meth. Gosh.
Very nice.
All right. I'm trying to be serious here. Stop it. All right. Woody arrived home and asked his wife, Catherine, to come into the kitchen to talk with him. When she got to the kitchen, she saw that her husband was very distraught and asked him if he had been in an accident that had killed someone. Woody assured her that that was not the case and began telling her what he had just witnessed. She was worried about the incident and recommended that Woody call the police. When Woody was on the phone with the police station, he became very upset and found it very hard to form the words he wanted in order to pass on his story. So Catherine took the phone and did her best to retell his story. When she was done, the officer asked her to hang up and that he would call her back momentarily. 10 minutes later, the phone rang. The officer asked Catherine if Woody was still upset and if he needed to go to the hospital. She replied that he was doing much better and that she didn't think he needed to see a doctor. The officer on the line told her that he wasn't crazy and that he shouldn't feel bad. They received 2 other calls about similar events that night on the same stretch of road. Let's dive into the very next day. The next day, Woody headed to work at around 8 o'clock, where he told the employer about his experience from the night prior. Of course, he didn't believe the story. Put a little note on this for later. At around 10 a.m., a producer from the WTAP TV station in Parkersburg came into the shop and asked Woody if he would be willing to go public that night. Woody agreed to do it and arrived at the TV station at 2:30 p.m. Waiting for Woody's arrival at the station was a representative from the Parkersburg newspaper, Sergeant Plum from the Parkersburg Police Station, Sergeant Van Vender of the West Virginia State Police, Air Force personnel, and many other people that Woody didn't know. Woody answered their questions until about 6 p.m. and would find out during his interview that many other people had reported something very similar, and most had described the exact same strange craft as Woody did. These other reports were reported to city and state police as well as many other different radio and TV stations. One of these reports came in from a mom and her son and daughter who stopped their car to watch this craft. The police station believes that this encounter happened immediately after Woody's encounter and may have even been the ascent from the incident with Woody Derenberger that this family was watching. When the craft left the area, it was heading straight towards Parkersburg. Another man reported an incident where the craft was hovering over his car and shining a blinding white light over his entire vehicle on the same stretch of road. 2 truck drivers reported being stopped by a vehicle they described as being very similar to the one that stopped Woody's John Keel. These men did not want publicity and stayed anonymous. We will be talking about this encounter in deeper detail a little bit later on. After the interview, Woody headed home and arrived around 6:30 to a crowd of people in his yard. Some he knew, most he did not. They all wanted to hear Woody's story again, and some even came forward to him about their own encounters with the craft in the area. At 2:30 a.m., Woody asked everyone to leave since he had work the next morning.
Hey everybody, bear with us while we take this quick break.
Hey guys, I'm Asherz.
And I'm Pat O.
And every Wednesday we talk weird.
It's a weekly podcast bringing you the latest in
Cryptozoology,
ufology,
conspiracies,
the occult,
and all the latest in 40 and news. Everything from the ooky to the spooky.
It's like Coast to Coast AM for people who fuck.
Search for On Wednesdays We Talk Weird anywhere you get podcasts. See you guys next Wednesday.
All right, guys, let's talk.
Again, I guess the reason I'm here, I can tell that story from the perspective of little Tanya at the time. And when Tanya talks about it, she says, she remembers her dad came home and he was just completely white as a ghost and just very shocked. And she said it was very much unlike him because he was always, he wasn't a very emotional guy. And, obviously this shook him to the core. And so the kids were ushered off and, go to bed or whatever. But they all stayed up and kind of huddled around the door and listened to the story. And they thought it was pretty wild. So then they had woken up the next day, and Tanya said they'd woken up to a house full of all these weird people. She says that, it was very interesting. And she says that, now it could have just been the fact that she was a young child. But she believes now as an adult, and I think she was like 4 or 5 when this had happened. She was pretty young, but she says she believes now as an adult that one of the people or a couple of people that were there were actually the Men in Black. Then again, Tanya's trying to write and sell books on the topic. So who knows? I mean, could she be embellishing that part? She could. But I do find it interesting that she had made that connection later on, because I could believe it. I also find it very interesting that there were people from, you mentioned the Air Force personnel came down from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which, if you, and I'm sure your listeners probably have a little bit of insight into it. That's where all the, Project Blue Book and all that comes from. That was definitely, very topical at the time. So very interesting. I think that's a very interesting take on it.
You said Wright-Patterson, and I felt Jeff's ears perk up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the whole Project Blue Book thing. I mean, I'm going to say it probably for the 500th time, but this seems like some sort of operation to seed the alien thoughts into people's minds, make everybody think that there's UFOs and aliens. It's like a long con for the Project Bluebeam situation, in my opinion, so far.
Very interesting. That's an interesting take. That's a very interesting take. I personally, I don't know if you want to use this or not. You can if you want to. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is a place that I investigate. I have 3 people that I talk to, 2 of which actively work there now. One's a contractor though, and so he comes in and out. One's actively on base at all times, and then the third one that I talk to is a dying man. And what's amazing is that it's a large base. I mean, bases typically are, right? You guys would know.
Yep.
They're usually really big places. These people don't know each other, and all of their stories correspond with one another. It's insane, and it's pretty wild. The one guy that I talked to, I can't. It's kind of fucking weird, and I'm surprised I haven't he hasn't murdered me. But I have to we have to go out in the middle of fucking nowhere with no cell phones for me to talk to him. He's not about it. But like I said, he tells me some shit. So the man that's dying, this things that he says, I found that as a happy accident. But he was the first one I started interviewing. And then I started interviewing a contractor. Then I got a hold of this guy, and it's pretty wild. Like I said, I'm not going to share too much about it. I could tell you some shit off air that'd blow your mind though.
Please do.
I might.
That's don't want to get you in trouble, but
Sure.
we have ears that love to hear this shit.
I understand.
They'll call us shills again.
I'm I'm trying. I mean, it's hard. I'm like, because the one guy, like I said, he's dying, and I'm like, well, do I share this afterwards? And we've all I've talked to the man's family. I'm like, what do you guys want to do? What do you want me to do with this information? It's really hard being a secret keeper. But very interesting stuff. So anyway, I thought that the Air Force connection was, just extra strange in this situation. Why were they so interested to hear the story? And again, I can't confirm that there were actually men in black or not there. I don't know. I was born in the 90s, so I wasn't there. But she does mention it, and I think that's important. So
Absolutely.
So this agreement to do this interview at the TV station, is that what you sent me and had me listen
Yes.
to? Okay.
Yep.
I was wondering where that fit into everything. Like, how long after the event did he do this TV interview? So
Literally the next day.
very fresh.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
just for anybody listening, what Jake is talking about, a few days after this episode goes live, I'm going to go ahead and post that to the Facebook group. That link. It's a YouTube page, YouTube video. It's just a still picture, but it's got the interview because it was a radio interview. It wasn't on the TV. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it wasn't.
But-
It was audio only.
Right. Okay. I just didn't want to sound stupid there because I didn't really.
Well, and I believe it wasn't actually. I mean, he did talk to the media, but I believe that interview portion wasn't actually just for the media. I think it was like a press conference that he had given.
Yeah.
And so the media was there, the police were there, the Air Force. I mean, everybody was there listening to it.
Right. It was a big deal. It was a huge deal, and I think you're right. I can't remember, but I believe in his book actually he had said that he had done the conversation with the group of randoms, right? The police, the military, the press, and everything, and then he went on to the show. But I don't think. I've tried to find a recording, like an actual video recording, but
No, there wasn't one.
You're talking about.
I mean, it was a mad. I'll tell you that it was a madhouse. I mean, just instantly, everybody was there. Nobody knows who was who, and that's why I kind of question the Men in Black thing a little bit because little 4 or 5-year-old kid, I'm sure there were men there wearing black clothes. You know what I mean? But then again, if you're trying to hide some super secret agency, what better way to do it amongst the circus and the chaos of all these people kind of coming in and out of this area? So, I mean, God, anybody could have been there, you know, and nobody would have known.
Facts.
Absolute facts. I like Jeff's approach because as we're talking about this, I can't help but think, you know, people that claim to see UFOs. I mean, shoot, I've seen a UFO. I've seen a bunch of UFOs living around military bases and stuff. I mean, I don't know what they are, right? I'm not going to say that they were, you know, extraterrestrial or whatever. Being around military bases, I can only assume that they're military technology most of the time. But the attention that this guy got from his experience, everybody and their mothers there to do an investigation and a report, versus nowadays where people say, hey, I saw a UFO and stuff, and sure, it gets like, you know, hits on YouTube, but there doesn't seem to be any like news stories, you know, all kinds of stuff. It's like, I like what Jeff was saying, because it feels like the narrative was being established and now it's already established. Like there doesn't need to be any investigation to make sure people are believing it, because people absolutely believe it.
It's been normalized now over the decades.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just like, I'm kind of, you know, playing devil's advocate for both sides right now. I'm just like, I was like, I could see it one way, I could see it the other way. I'm kind of formulating my opinion and taking notes as you go, but I'm just like I like how he said that, and you know, thinking about this, because I mean, there was this one, right, and then there was the Kelly Greenman that got a huge amount of, you know, publicity, and all kinds of people showed up for that one. Then there was the Rendlesham UFO incident. That one got quite a bit of attention and stuff, and those ones were all, you know, decades ago. And now, as it's gotten more and more recent, the level of publicity that you get for these sorts of things, with the exception of the Facebook likes, the YouTube clicks, you know, all those sorts of things, it really isn't that big of a deal anymore. And even with like the Pentagon saying like, oh my gosh, yeah, we have no idea what these things are, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, whatever, you know, or they're telling the truth. Yeah. Still, it's just like, you know, if Jeff was onto something as far as this being like a trial run for the idea that there's extraterrestrials or something else out there, it makes sense that they'd want to follow up and make sure that people were like buying into it and stuff, versus now where it's already established, you know. And I'm just like, interesting.
To fill a hole real quick, as you'll see later on when I get a little bit deeper into the story, this was something where people were seeing shit in the sky. Like this area, this northeastern corner of the Ohio Valley was just flooded with strange shit in the sky. Nice. And this was like, everyone's seeing this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy says that he finally made contact with something. Like there was, this is the what made this so popular is that this guy says that one of those damn things came down and talked to him. So that's why everyone was so excited. The hype was real.
Yeah, I believe it.
Asherz, did I miss anything there? Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and I know you're going to get into it. But when Woody met Indrid, it was 10 days before the Mothman sightings happened. About 40 miles, and not even 40 miles away. It was in that area. And so, I mean, you know, it's very topical. You know, UFOs were hot at the time. I mean, that was the trend, I guess. You know, so I'd agree with that. You know, I think that the hype was generated. It was like a build. It just kind of continued to grow and snowball. And then, you know, not just that, the events, obviously, of kind of what was taking place and what was going on in this weird area of the world, you know, were also ramping up. So, I mean, people were seeing the lights, and then they're getting bored, and then the lights are getting closer to the ground. Now they've made contact. And so, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Very exciting, especially when you have nothing to do except for meth in the 1960s in West Virginia.
And I mean, the cool thing about like Jeff's theory of this is that it doesn't take away anything from the people who experienced it. It just that they were deceived and they didn't know it. They had their experience and it blew their freaking minds. And as far as they knew, I'm talking to an alien right now, or someone who claims to be an alien right now telepathically, you know, and that's their experience. but it's everything outside of that individual experience that they had that is all that extra crap. So it's just like,
Mhm.
so it's, I mean, I like it. I'm digging it so far.
The best way to run a conspiracy, right, is to make sure that the people who are participating in it actually do believe in it. And so, when you have people that, when you have to hire actors and things, that's when it becomes kind of weird. Then you got a lot of people that keep secrets and things like that. So if you're going to stage something, and I'm not saying that this is the idea that I necessarily subscribe to, but if you're going to, then you getting genuine people, genuine reactions that aren't going to tell all your secrets would be the best way to go about doing that.
It's just odd to me that these types of events always happen in the middle of nowhere with like one or two people. It's like they don't ever land in the middle of Disney World or like in Times Square at noon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We get into that too.
Because people would see the wires. They have to do it at night in the woods. It's a known thing, Jeff. Get with the program.
Sorry.
Yeah, idiot.
Sorry.
I love you, Jeff.
I love you too, bud.
True love, man. The next day, on the 4th of November, 2 days after his first contact with Mr. Cold, Woody was driving home from Pomeroy, Ohio, with a friend. Driving south on Route 7, Woody began to feel a strange feeling in and around his head. He described it as a light tingling. Later on, the passenger of the vehicle also claims to have a strange feeling come over him as well. Woody claimed to know that Cold was attempting to contact him telepathically, which Woody reluctantly accepted by thinking a thought to Mr. Cold. Cold told Woody that he thought he should slow down and drive safer. His craft was hovering over his vehicle very high and that he was following him. This time, Woody claims that he is much more accepting of the situation and knew that this was sitting better with Cold. Cold continued his conversation with Woody by telling him that he comes from a planet known as Lanulos in a galaxy called Ganymede. Y'all heard that before. Just want to put a plug there. Woody later would feel that this information was intended to be incorrect to keep Cold's planet safe. Moving on, Mr. Cold would continue to tell Woody that his planet was bigger than Earth, but it was practically the same. It had mountains, forests, streams, and oceans, and a lot of the same plants and animal life, with slight exceptions. He told of his wife, Kimmy, his 2 sons, and his newborn daughter they named Cumulus after her mother. Their planet only had 3 seasons: planting, harvesting, and cold, and the life expectancy of the people on their planet was between 125 to 175 Earth years. And just before Mr. Cold warned that he was ready to break contact and to expect a severe shock as contact was broken, he told Woody that his first name was Indrid. Just after that, their communications to each other were broken, but Woody never received the shock that Cold had warned about. Instead, he had a pain in his temples that quickly spread throughout his head. The only place Woody initially reported this incident to was directly to NICAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena in D.C. Go ahead, Jeff.
So, something else I just wanted to say. Why do these things always happen around the number 7 or 77?
Oh, there he is. I love him. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying.
Say things.
7 p.m., Interstate 77. And this, I don't think this isn't the one you're talking. This is the first contact, I believe. Sorry, I'm like looking things up as you're talking to me about this because I'm like digging into this because I'm going to figure this out right now. I'm going to shatter this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I hope you do. I hope at the end you shatter it because there's a lot that you're going to have to shatter.
No, he's going to do it now and destroy the episode.
I'm doing it right now. No, I'm tracking with you. Keep going. Let's go. Let's ride.
Well, hold on. Asherz, Jake. Anybody?
I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything much to say about it. I'm now that I'm understanding the flow of how this is going to go. Anything that I have to say, you're going to get into, which is great. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What's really good about what you're bringing to this is I think we're gonna be able to cut this episode a little shorter because I think I'm gonna be able to skip the Tanya part. You're bringing a better perspective from Tanya than I'm able to do just by reading her book.
Oh, good.
And you're
Yeah.
literally saying, more than what I have too.
Sure.
But you're saying some of the stuff that I have. So
Right.
I think that you're bringing a whole nother aspect to this show.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah.
To where it's not just me reading what I have scripted, and you're bringing firsthand stuff.
No, I mean, I'll stop you. Usually when I agree to do interviews with people and I go on their show, it's basically I have to start in baby steps and explain everything right from the beginning to the end, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and that's fine. So it is really a breath of fresh air to have somebody who actually is invested in it and did do their homework and not just like, the basics. So yeah, like I said, you're doing a great job. Keep doing it.
Yeah, like they say, here in the Infinite Rabbit Hole, we go to page 3 on Google.
That's right.
Smart. Always.
Jake, what do you got, man?
So, Ganymede.
Yep.
Is Greek mythology, is a person who was abducted by Zeus and taken to Olympus. And I know that we did name a lot of our astrological bodies off of Greek mythology and various forms of mythology and all those different things. I'm curious if Cold told him that that's what our galaxy is called based off of what we may have already been calling it, or if he told him that and then later on it was discovered and then we said, well, that'll just be Ganymede then. If it's on the latter side, if it's like it was already established that this is a galaxy called this, I'm curious if Cold said, yeah, we're in this sort of a galaxy, and then later on looking it up, they're like, oh, that's Ganymede. It's not like an unknown place, is what I'm saying. It's not,
right.
If it's already been discovered and the galaxy's been named, it's not an unknown place. So this would technically be a planet we could look up and using a more high-powered advanced telescope, maybe on a satellite out in space, which doesn't exist, could see this planet and stuff, versus I don't really know how to explain where I'm going with this.
So check it out, right?
Yeah.
I think that there is a slight mix-up in vocabulary between those from the planet Lanulos and those from Earth. So I've noticed a lot in some of the books that I've read for this is that Cold refers to the galaxy that he is in, and he does say that we share a galaxy. We're from the same galaxy, because there is a particular time that I will get to where Cold escorts another alien being or beings to the end of our galaxy and basically pushes them out of our galaxy for us. And in that book, it's referred to as the Milky Way. But as you just heard me say, is that he's from a planet named Lanulos in the Ganymede galaxy. Now, I believe that the definition of galaxy in Lanulos really means solar system. Yeah, I think it's a breakup of definitions. Like, there's that you can't expect everything to be perfect. Like they're not going to know
gathering in city.
Yeah, exactly. Like gathering in city. So they use the word galaxy to refer to solar system, but they know that we all live in the Milky Way galaxy because we call the galaxy Milky Way, right? But a galaxy is a collection of solar systems, like billions of solar systems all around. And a solar system is a collection of planets around a star. So I think that the definition for galaxy on Lanulos is solar system.
I have a really interesting, kind of an easier way to explain
Earth.
that. Our planet, right? What's our planet called? Earth, right? Except it's not called Earth to other people in different languages. Sometimes it's called Terra. And there's so many different. There's like 50 different words for Earth, right? And so of course, if we had this big conference and had big alien contact, and we're like, oh yeah, yeah, we're all here from the planet, and then we would all hate each other and fight each other and disagree on what we would even call ourselves. But we all mean our planet, so I think, so that's basically what you're trying to say is, of course, us, dumb folk that speak, English, we can't comprehend it being called anything besides Earth because it's Earth, right? And so that's where I think it comes from. It is a breakdown of just kind of words and semantics in that regard.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying either it's just name something entirely different, or this could possibly be like, considering it, I'm certain if it is an alien that they would have their own language. So this would be his second language, or however many places he's visited, a number of languages. And it could just be misspeak. Like when someone's learning, like if I were to learn Spanish, I would probably misspeak quite a bit in trying to formulate a sentence or whatever, or a thought.
Yeah, it could be either of those. Yeah.
All right, I'm down.
Now, there was a part of this that I had to cut out because this was originally almost 50 pages long, and I cut out a lot of stuff. And one of those extra pieces of information that Asherz was talking about earlier that I probably had was that there was a theory that the Lanulosians actually perceived time faster than us. So in a lot of the accounts of people in contact with somebody from Lanulos, they described them speaking very strangely, like as if they were trying to slow their words down, like they were used to speaking faster. And I think it's because, and we'll get into this part a little bit later, but I think that they perceive time differently. We would have to go, welcome to infinite rabbit hole, right? And they think that that's what they were doing. So not only was it a mix-up of, not just learning a different language or learning a different dialect, but they actually had to change the way that they speak too, in order to be able to be understood by human beings. So there's a lot that they had to do in order to communicate with us properly.
Or it could have just been that their language had more syllables than us.
Probably.
More syllables, longer words to get out the same sort of thought and stuff. You got to speak it quickly because otherwise you'll be there all day.
Yeah. And don't worry, guys. This is a very long topic, and it goes very deep.
Hold on.
We're only an hour in.
I thought of something that I wanted to bring up, and then we got on this topic.
Go for it.
So I wanted to, again, Tanya's perspective. I'll be her voice. Woody Derenberger was not a man that prior to this incident was into like sci-fi. They didn't own a TV. You know what I mean? Like they weren't, it's not like he sat around reading these, super cool sci-fi books or anything like that. He didn't have any type of interest in this type of topic until he had this incident. Now, of course, whether or not maybe they talked about it at work. I mean, he was a sewing machine salesman. So, how those people are really into sci-fi stuff. I don't know. But yeah, according to Tanya, he didn't have a history in this. Some people like in the Betty and Barney Hill case, they're saying that they were it was inspired by, what was it, The Outer Limits. They were saying they had similar, because that ran on TV, and so they must have seen it. And no, they had no idea what that was. Very similar to Woody. I don't think they ever compared it to anything. But yeah, I mean, he didn't have his hand in these type of things. So it didn't really make much sense for him to just kind of come up with all of these strange otherworldly themes, because he really had no way of knowing. And again, when you're living in, where he was, West Virginia, it's not like education is wildly abundant there. I mean, not saying he was a dumb man or anything, just the resources weren't there to begin with for any type of extensive cultural education at the time. And just because it's the 60s, that didn't really exist. So I think that's also of note, about the type of guy he was pre-Indrid. So,
and that is why I love this story.
I hate to burst your bubble, but yeah, sewing machine salesmen, huge sci-fi nerds, like total Trekkies. Yeah,
maybe I can probably see it.
That is a good thing to note. I'm going to write that down to kind of build my conclusion, because that is a huge factor when it comes to this stuff. How involved were they prior to their incident in this sort of stuff. Would they be willing to make something up about this? But in this circumstance, it seems like that would be a pretty heavily leaning no. So
I thought you were saying that like the fact that he's a sewing machine salesman was the factor. And you're like, oh, that's huge. That just totally breaks open this whole story.
Huge, yeah. No, I know the truth. Yeah, what's his propensity to sci-fi stuff? So not much.
The amount of attention that Woody and his family received after the radio interview was way more than he had anticipated. He received phone calls from all over the country, letters from all over the world, and people were showing up at his house at night to watch the skies. On most nights, 25 to 30 people would show up, and some of them would even knock on the door to personally ask questions and hear Woody's story. Woody worked mostly in the evening, so often his wife would be left alone with his children while strangers piled up outside and knocked on their door. One night, Woody arrived home late from work and noticed that there was an unusual amount of people parked by his house. His wife and him estimated at 150 individuals. It became obvious that this was too much when he noticed men in the trees with shotguns. Woody called the police to remove the people from his property, but as soon as the police left, most of them came back. The effects of all this attention began to find its way into the lives of his children, Charles, age 7, and Tanya, age 3. Charles was being bullied at school, and both children were having a very difficult time falling asleep due to all the noise outside at night. Both children suffered from nightmares on a nightly basis as well. Woody's sales began to drop drastically, and since he was a traveling salesperson living off of commissions from his sales, the attention began to affect the Derenbergers financially as well. Nobody was buying from Woody anymore. Everyone was familiar with his story, and most thought he was crazy. Those that did reach out to request a visit from him to discuss the sale of an appliance only did so to talk to him about the UFO, and had absolutely no interest in actually buying anything. This resulted in his family having to move and sell most of their furniture. They moved into his wife's family summer cabin and were able to find peace for about a month. But soon after that, the UFO craze found them again. Their new home was set on the banks of the Kanawha River, but soon after they moved there began a very large flap of UFO sightings along their section of the river. Someone then found out that the Derenbergers were living there and contacted the local press, and the stories that came out claimed that the large rash of UFO activity was in fact due to Woody and his family's presence, and that they were contacting him in private. The crowds began to form on their lawn again, and this forced them to move. This time to the dead center of Vienna, West Virginia, with the idea that hiding in plain sight might be the way to go. The craze followed them when a German TV crew showed up requesting them to be a part of their documentary that they were planning to film. This was too much for his wife, Catherine, as she left him with their children and moved to Cleveland, Ohio. Woody soon followed them to Cleveland, but it was too late, and they were divorced in 1970.
Was there ever any thought for this man to write a book or anything like that where, he's losing money and people are constantly asking for his story? Like, he could have just, even if it was like a pamphlet, he could have just written down his story and sold it.
He did. It's called Visitors from Lanulos.
It's where I got this information.
But like how soon afterwards, because he was hurting financially. So within that time period, it could have just been like, I should just write this down and sell it,
It wasn't. I don't have the exact time frame, but I know it was roughly 10 years after.
Yeah, it wasn't immediate at all.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Because that's unfortunate. Look, whatever we may say about the validity of the story, as far as like outside of his experience, the fact that he's losing money and his family's hurting because of the opinions of people that are outside of this experience, it's very unfortunate. And hindsight's always 20/20 as far as like, man, I could have capitalized on this and stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't know. it's hard to hear that. It's like if this ever happened to me, if I ever had an experience like this, I would never tell people where I lived. Like, I just want the attention, you know. I mean, nowadays I live on base, you know. Go ahead and storm the gate. Go, I dare you. But it's just like, you know, I wouldn't want that attention. You know, it would be awful, you know, and it would be unsettling, you know, constantly having people following you around and stuff. Like, you have no idea what's the intentions of these people. You know, it's just like
Tanya said there was never not anybody outside, and not just like one or two people, but like groups of people. They would hide out in like the bushes and things like that, trying to catch a glimpse of Indrid. And you know, it was just constant. It was constant. You know, rumors going around. I mean, the kids were being followed, you know, everywhere. They couldn't really leave the house without escorts and things like that anymore. It was a lot. It was a lot of attention. You know, and it wasn't just Woody. I mean, it was the whole family. You know, so when his wife, you know, went to go leave, and this is the part of the story where, because I was always, I guess people might find this surprising, but I was always a skeptic of the Indrid Cold story, and until I started digging into it. And, you know, once I did, and I realized that, you know, his wife divorced him. And when that happened, she maintained to the day that she died, wasn't because Indrid wasn't real. As a matter of fact, he is very real. It's because she couldn't deal with the attention anymore that it was getting. So, I mean, you know, if you're going to divorce your husband and you're going to try to distance yourself from that story, if it didn't actually happen, why not just then come out and finally say, listen, this didn't happen? But she, you know, she never did. She said, Indrid's, you know, I've met him. He stays at her house sometimes. You know, they were all very close. You know, she's helped take care of the kid. Well, we'll get into that, but, you know, he would bring his kids and things. And I mean, the whole families would hang out together, but they didn't have anybody else either. You know, they really just had the, you know, the Cold family and then the Derenbergers. But yeah, I mean, so, you know, I thought that was probably one of the bigger pieces of evidence for me, you know, when I started thinking, okay, maybe there's something to this, was the fact that, like I said, she left, she took the kids, but until the day she died, maintained that the story was real.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And we do get into this. We get a little bit into Catherine's relationship with the Lanulosians. There's a reason why I chose this. I love this topic.
I think that this is probably, to me, the Indrid Cold story is one of the best evidence for any type of alien species ever. And it is like the best kept secret, because it sounds so fucking goofy and so fucking out there that it almost it has to be true. I mean, nobody makes this shit up. Nobody makes up a lifelong, you know, a lifelong torture chamber of constant attention. And like you get, you know, losing money and losing your family and basically every single thing ever, just to be like, yeah, I hang out with this alien dude. Like, nobody fucking does that.
There is one more. There's Bob Lazar, and his story sounds incredibly convincing, constantly getting raided by the FBI and stuff. Like, it's just like...
Oh, there's other really good stories, but for me, this one's tops.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the attention factor around it leads more into its believability versus, like, if it was just like, yeah, I was interviewed one time, then that was it. You know?
Well, I don't have a problem believing that these people had these experiences, like you guys have already said a couple times. I think what I'm having a problem wrapping my head around is, were they being duped? You know, was this some form of psychological operation or something like that? You know, so I, of course, like I'm a crazy guy, right? I'm the conspiracy guy. So people come to me with crazy stories and shit all the time, and you know, especially on my show, like I take their word for it while I'm talking to them. Like I believe whatever it is, crazy thing you're telling me, like I'm just going to go with it as if you're telling me the truth. And that's kind of where I'm going with these people and their experiences. But that still just kind of puts me in the spot where I'm thinking these people might have just been victims of some form of a psychological operation, whether it be from, you know, whatever, Men in Black, the Deep State, whatever, take your pick of the organization.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun take on it. I personally have never thought about it that way before, and I'm curious to see, you know, to listen to more of what Jeff has to say as we continue along with the story.
At the end of December in 1966, Woody was contacted by the former police chief of Parkersburg and current captain of the Cocoa Beach, Florida Police Department, Bruce Parsons. He was also working as a security guard for NASA, and was told to reach out and invite Woody and his family to Florida so that Woody can tell his story directly to the head of NASA, a man only introduced to Woody as Charlie. Instead of a pleasant trip to Florida and thrilling tours of Cape Kennedy Base, he was instead interrogated for 5 days by many different people. Afterwards, he was told that there was nothing new in his stories and that everything he told of Lanulos, Mr. Cold, and the craft had already been reported numerous times. Woody asked why they never came forward with the information. In reply, they said that if they did so, there would be massive panic throughout the world. Many people would commit crimes or suicide. A quoted line from the book, Visitors from Lanulos, by Woody Derenberger himself, states they said, quote, women would commit suicide. They'd throw their babies out of windows, jump under trains. This kind of panic could sweep the entire world, end quote. Additional interviews and investigations were conducted by SACI, Space Age Communications Incorporated, NICAP, and the Air Force. NICAP even went as far as to hire Dr. Robert A. Jenkins, a local psychiatrist, to administer an EEG test to test for epilepsy, which came back negative, with particular terminology such as, quote, no evidence of epilepsy. Normal recording with no indication and central nervous system pathology at all, and no evidence of any psychiatric disorders. NICAP dropped even lower by telling Woody to not speak to anybody regarding these events unless they were a representative from NICAP themselves. Woody responded by telling him that he will speak to anybody he wants to. In turn, the representative that interviewed Woody returned a report to NICAP claiming that his stories were false and told events reminded him of a carnival. So what do you guys think about that?
What was this Parsons guy's name again?
Give me a second. Bruce Parsons.
And he worked at...
He was the Florida, Cocoa Beach, Florida Police Department. He was the captain there, and he also worked part-time as a head of security for NASA.
So I wonder if he was related to either William or Bill Parsons, who was one of the directors of NASA, or Jack Parsons, the rocket engineer / occultist.
Oh, I have no idea. That's you. That's your wheelhouse, homie.
Parsons is also really, it's kind of a big name in West Virginia. It's kind of a really popular one. Lots of streets, and things like that named Parsons. Lots of people you run into with the last name Parsons.
Yeah, it's a common name, but the fact that he was tied to NASA somehow, and then, like I said, Bill Parsons was a director of NASA, and then Jack Parsons, like I said, he's a rocket engineer. He's also like an occultist. There's a lot of connections with him and Thelema, Aleister Crowley's thing. So that's some digging I gotta do. I gotta do some digging now. Thanks.
Yeah, I like it. The wheels are turning.
I'd like those results. Yeah, I'd be interested in that one. No, I think that's interesting. Do we talk more about the psychiatrist, or is that?
We do.
Okay.
We do. We end up getting into that a little bit more later on.
Oh, wait.
Well, it looks like he's not crazy, so that's good. Not seeing anything.
I have those actually. I have copies of those reports. Tanya gave them to me. I've got a lot of really cool stuff.
I actually have the bigger version, the large print version of Visitors of Lanulos, which actually has the copies of the reports in the back. I got to read them. They were freaking. They're really cool. I mean, they've got proper headers and everything to them, and I mean, the signatures, and then the stuff like the question and answer segments from NICAP.
Oh yeah,
like that's actually in the back of the book too. Like NICAP was trying to fuck this guy.
Oh yeah. Well,
the politics were strong.
And let me just mention that isn't that isn't particularly unusual because we see that now with MUFON.
Right.
They do exactly that with their eyewitnesses. Basically it's just their witnesses aren't people, they're cash cows, and it's terrible. So that's not, again, I'm not surprised by that at all.
Me neither. What do you guys think about cutting off the first episode right here?
Whatever you want to do, bud.
Well, this is an hour and 12 minutes in. This is a very good break because we're going to actually get into the first time Indrid visits Woody's home.
Yeah, we got to get
next.
into that juicy stuff so I can put that last time on Infinite Rabbit Hole thing.
Yeah. Are we in agreement? This is a good place to stop?
Yeah.
Okay. Asherz, are you gonna stay with us and record episode 2 tonight too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, I'm here for I'm invested, so.
Okay, because we're on page
8.
7.
Okay.
7
of 38.
I might conk out for 3, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, this is where we're going to cut off part 1 of the Indrid Cold series. Now, I said series because this is going to be a long one. You're going to hear a lot of Indrid Cold on Infinite Rabbit Hole for a good couple weeks. There's a reason why we held this off for our season finale is because this is a huge topic, and we just scratched the surface, literally just scratching the surface about this insanely awesome story. The details are incredible. The journey is insane. Everything about this, you are not going to want to miss it. So, before we log off for the day, Asherz, I just want to say thank you for joining us on this episode. And she has already given me the thumbs up that she will be here for part 2 of part we don't know yet. And before we log off, let everybody know one more time where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on Facebook under Ashley Hilt. I'm the one with the red hair. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Asherz. With a Z. You can also find on Wednesdays We Talk Weird literally anywhere that you listen to podcasts. But I'm excited. I'm excited to time travel with you guys and be here for the future episodes of this Indrid Cold series. It's been a lot of fun. If anybody's here listening, because I brought you here from my show, I'll tell you. I don't know how much exactly is going to be edited out of these episodes, but let me tell you, this guy knows his stuff. I'm impressed. So that's awesome.
Well, I'm trying to make a name for myself in this community. So I am thrilled to hear that come out of you. Really, really am. I got a big old grin on my face, and I'm going to step off my soapbox now before I float away. All right. So next week, like Asherz said, we are going to time travel, and we'll see you next week. All right. Thanks for stopping in.
Bye.
This path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole.
Bye. Bye.
Asherz, would you like to say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.